Boom. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about signature scents and specifically the best ones for men in 2026. Really and truly, you hear this word, signature scents. It's almost become a buzzword. You hear it so much, especially in the fragrance community. But a signature scent is really just simply this: a scent that people know and recognize you by. And 9 times out of 10, it would be the scent that you wear the most often. When you walk into a room and somebody might not be able to see you, but they catch a whiff of your scent, they would be able to tell, hey, that person just walked in because I can smell their signature scent. Or they smell it on an article of clothing or in a room of a house. And those memories associated with that fragrance take that person back to you because it is your signature scent. Now, what you're going to see in common with all these fragrances, they vary across price points, yes. But what you're going to see across all these is they are all very versatile. I'm talking all 4 seasons: office, church, date, formal dinner, a dance of sorts. Any occasion, anywhere you find yourself, these fragrances work. So versatile, obviously crowd pleasing and crowd appealing. You don't want to wear something that's super controversial, that's going to make half or even more of the general public turn away from you as you go by. Got to be crowd appealing, got to be versatile, and most of these are relatively inexpensive. And I think they have some level of uniqueness to them. You don't want to be smelling like everybody and their brother. You want to have your own signature scent. You don't want to have the same one as 100 other people. So with that being said, let's jump in. I'll give you 8 down the hatch of the best signature scents for men. Starting out with number 8, let's go with a relatively new release, and I just have a decant of it, not a full bottle or anything, but Ralph's Club New York. The bottle of this fragrance, and even some of the scent profile, really gives me a lot of similarities to YSL Myself Absolute. Both bottles are very shiny, almost like a glossy silver look, and I think both of them, at least to my nose, maybe not to yours, but I get a lot of similarities between the two. You got like a bright, zingy, kind of zesty opening. I catch some ginger and some heavy citrus. And then in the case of this Ralph's Club New York, once you get past kind of that bright, zingy citrus opening and even some in the middle, once it settles down into the base, you get more of that smooth, woodsy, kind of a sweet, masculine, refined touch that Ralph's Club New York is really known for and what is their DNA. If you like the original, if you like the EDT, if you like the Eau de Parfum, if you like the Elixir, I think you would certainly like this. It's bright and youthful enough in the opening to where I think it could cover you in the spring and summer. But then in the fall and the winter time, I think that base, the woods, and it has enough depth there to be able to carry you into those 4 seasons. And so that's why I have it at number 8 for a signature scent for men. Coming in at number 7, Boss Bottled Beyond. This is a really simple note breakdown, and really it is a simple fragrance, all things considered, but it's by no means boring or redundant. This is just simply ginger, leather, and woods. That's all it is. And I'm going to be honest with you, I smelled this fragrance for the first time because it had been getting so much hype. I'm talking about people were calling this the best Boss bottled fragrance ever made, which if you know anything about Boss bottled fragrances, they've come out with dozens of fragrances in their history. So for people to say that it's the best ever, that's a pretty big stretch. I put my nose to it. I was like, this is boring. This doesn't really have much of a personality to it. I don't get the hype behind it. And then I wore it. And I don't know how to describe it because I've smelled plenty of fragrances with ginger, leather, and woods in some kind of combination. But this is one of the most sophisticated and mature and even elevated fragrances that I put my nose on recently. The ginger in it is super bright. It gives it a great pop on the opening. But then that leather and the woods are not sharp. They're not off-putting. They're very smoothed out and refined. The leather in here is kind of like Azzaro, Forever One, and Elixir. It's kind of a smooth brown leather. It's not something that half the crowd's going to like and half the general crowd isn't. Everybody's going to like the leather done in here. And the woods are just done in a very smooth and kind of rounded off way to put everything together This fragrance is great. I think all ages would love it. I would say somebody in their 20s or 30s would probably gravitate toward this more. But this is something that, while it is new, I don't catch a lot of people wearing this on a daily basis. So therefore, it'd be really good for a signature scent. It gets compliments. It's not that expensive. And it's brand new. So you have a little bit of a unique edge there. So Boss Bottle Beyond slotting in at number 7. Up next, we have Amouage Reflection Man, which, okay, this is a 10 ml decant. And as you can tell, we have a little bit of juice right there at the very bottom. But besides that, I have worn through this thing. This is such a good fragrance. And at least to my nose, it kind of smells like a rainy day to me. But by no means is this only limited to that kind of weather. You're going to get rosemary, pink pepper, petitgrain, jasmine, neroli, orris root, yin yang, sandalwood, cedar, vetiver, and patchouli. This is musky, this is sweet, this is brisk. Like I said, kind of has that rainy, earthy edge to it, especially as it dries down. But for the kind of scent profile that it is, which a lot of fragrances kind of fall into this general, very appealing, all 4 seasons, all occasions kind of style. But in particular, this fragrance from Amouage, for some reason, it just smells more mature, more refined, more sophisticated. I think this is almost like a suit and tie office kind of job. If you have that kind of a lifestyle and you're trying to, level up, I think this would be a great fragrance for that. Like I said, I'm not sure if a 13-year-old, if this would be their first choice out of everything in the world, but it's a unique fragrance. People love it. I've gotten many compliments wearing this throughout several years of having this decant. And once again, especially compared to other Amouage fragrances, it's relatively inexpensive. It's not going to destroy the bank, and it'd be a great signature scent option. Let's just talk about my signature scent of the day, Versace Dylan Blue. Now, I know what you're saying. Versace Dylan Blue is a blue fragrance that's been around for a long time, and it's right up there in the YSLs, in the Dior's, in the Chanel's. Everybody seems to know about Versace. But this fragrance is one of the cheapest fragrances you can find, bar none. And most of Versace stuff, especially this, or even Versace Pour Homme Man, which is completely empty. Both of them are relatively cheap. And this has that blue fragrance DNA, making it a great signature scent contender already. But it also kind of takes a more spicy, more incensey, more heavy approach to a blue fragrance. A lot of these, it's super bright, citrusy, and that's how it is throughout the lifespan of the fragrance, and it fades off after 6 hours, and that's that. This is different. With those spices in the opening, with the incense and the woods as it dries down, it has that perfect blend of a bright opening, but also a deeper base to where this works all occasions, all seasons. The longevity is decent, but don't be afraid to pepper this on, maybe 7 or 8 sprays. You're not going to choke people out, especially with this fragrance. And I really, really like it. I feel like it's been out for a while now, so people are kind of almost starting to underrate it. They're not talking about it as much. They talk about Versace Pour Homme Man, which, to be honest with you, both are great signature scent contenders, but ultimately, I've really been enjoying Dylan Blue recently, and I think it's still a great signature scent in 2026. 4 fragrances left to go. Let's give a shout out. You guys know, if you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I have a special place in my heart for Prada Sport. And honestly, out of every fragrance on this list, this might be the closest thing that I have to a signature scent. Obviously, it's harder with a larger fragrance collection because I wear something different every day of the week, just to try to rotate between my collection and give things a wear. But Prada Sport, as I mentioned several times before on this channel, this is my go-to Friday fragrance, and it's the first fragrance I've ever owned. So I've had plenty of years of experience wearing this, and wearing it once a week is naturally going to put a pretty big dent in it, as you can tell with the amount of juice that's left. I'll probably need a backup bottle soon. But this is a great, great signature scent option, especially in the line of Prada. People are going to Paradigm. People are going to Carbon. Even some are dipping into the ocean realm. But Prada Sport is still right there near the top, and it is so underrated. Juniper berries, ginger, lavender, vanilla, tonka bean. It smells like Friday. If you haven't smelled it, smell it, and then come back to this video and tell me this isn't the weekend in a bottle. This is going to make everybody's mood better around you when you wear this. Prada Sport, great option. for a signature scent. All right, coming in at number 3, one of the newest, I guess maybe the newest fragrance on this collection video, we got Valentino Extra Dose. Kind of like another fragrance on this video, I put my nose to this for the first time, and I just wasn't really all that impressed. It's a very simple note breakdown. It's just spicy notes, wild lavender, and woody notes. And it's got that typical Valentino DNA, but I smelled it at first, really wasn't impressed, and then went back a couple weeks later, and once again, I smelled it in like a Sephora, and it blew me away. The spices and the lavender work so well together. I'm a huge sucker for lavender and fragrances anyway, but the spices, they're definitely potent and they're prominent, but they're not off-putting, they're not harsh. It works well with the lavender, and then it settles down to this nice, sweet, woody base. It's got a lot of sweetness to it, as I said. It packs, honestly, quite the punch. It's one of the strongest of the Valentino fragrances, but I think the lavender and even the spices are not too harsh or even not too spicy and outgoing to where you could still wear this in the warmer seasons. Now, would I wear 100 sprays of this when it's 95 degrees outside in the middle of July? No, I wouldn't. But you could still wear this in the hot seasons and get away with it. And like I said, it's relatively new. Not everybody and their brother has it yet, and so you can still pick this up, find it for a decent price, and it's a great contender for a signature scent. I got to include my first ever niche fragrance purchase at number 2. This, of course, is PDM Sedley. This always has a very special place in my heart, and it is truly a jack of all trades, and it is a compliment monster. People are going to gravitate maybe towards Greenlee and even Castley out of the PDM line for a signature scent, but I still think Sedley is timeless, and I still think it's got that number 1 spot in terms of this brand for a signature scent. You've got lemon, mint, bergamot, grapefruit, mandarin orange, lavender, get some rosemary, geranium, olibanum, and then ambroxan, sandalwood, cedar, cashmere, vetiver, and patchouli. A lot of people have said this is almost like a Sprite Zero, or you're drinking a Diet Sprite. That's kind of the DNA you get. Definitely add a minty twist to that because, of course, that mint is there in the opening. But then it settles down super fresh, super bright and brisk opening. But then it settles down. You get to that ambroxan, sandalwood, cedar, cashmere, vetiver, and patchouli. Rounds out the fragrance. All the citruses settle on top of those heavier notes. And this is truly one of the best signature scents that I think a man can have. It's classy. It's elegant. I've said that about some of these, but it's 2026. We're trying to be taken seriously when wearing fragrances. And I think this does just that. All seasons, all occasions, people love this stuff. They want to get more of it. It's got that addictive scent, DNA, and profile. If you haven't smelled it, I encourage you to get your nose on it. PDM Sedley, number 2 on our list. Coming in at number 1, let's throw a Louis Vuitton on there, man. Louis Vuitton Meteor. I could have put Imagination. I could have even put something like L'Immensité on there if I so desired. But I still think Meteor is so underappreciated in the Louis Vuitton line. Everybody goes to something like Imagination, which of course it's a great fragrance, but this just takes signature scent to a whole new level. Even to this day, after smelling hundreds of fragrances, if not more, I've not found something that has that balance between a very fresh, bright, and brisk scent, but also keeps more of like a green, spicy, peppery touch. Because in this fragrance, of course, you get your oranges and bergamot, but then in the mid, you get a heavy, heavy dose of neroli, pink pepper, nutmeg, cardamom, and then Java vetiver oil. This is quite literally a perfect 50-50 combo between fresh and bright, and then also combining that with a very green, earthy, spicy edge, and you cannot miss that in this fragrance. I might almost be leaning 60-40 in terms of how spicy and earthy this is, but it's so crowd-pleasing. People love this. It's mature, maybe catered towards older guys just because the spiciness and the earthiness is kind of drowning out some of the sweetness that this fragrance could have. And so maybe that's more suited for older guys, but regardless, this is a great office scent. This is a great date night fragrance. Wear it 7 days a week, wherever you go, all 4 seasons. Once again, checking those boxes of a signature scent. You got to check Louis Vuitton's Meteor out. I think you'd love it. It's a great fragrance, and that's why it was my first ever Louis Vuitton purchase. And it's not got a crazy dent in it, but it's definitely my most dented out of the Louis Vuitton collection. I highly recommend you check it out, Louis Vuitton Meteor. And check out any of these fragrances on this list. I think they'd be great signature scent contenders. But how about I hear from you? As I close this week's video, how about you drop down your favorite signature scents and what you're going to be wearing in 2026? What are people going to recognize you buy? Let me know down in the comments section below. Stay tuned. We got a devotional coming up Sunday. You don't want to miss that. But until then, stay safe and God bless.